connect me with the teachers. And then, but we're not going to mark register. Are the principals here? Let's give the principals a hand. Where's the... And then everyone with the big body. Okay, I just palabantaba kulumayo like in your schools. We're not going to do that. What are you guys discussing? Cash loans? Thank you. Let's give the principals hands again. You also principals? Which region are you from? Eastern Cape. Wow. These ones, they groom politicians. Let's give them hands. Eastern Cape. No one wants to be a firefighter. Zabai minister, a 3-year-old. The Funbai minister. And there, But I love teachers, man. I went to do charity event and I realized marking a register is hard, especially in Limpopo, because the parents make a job hard for teachers. They give abantwana the names that don't have a separation from a surname and a name. Like in Limpopo, when you mark a register, they go, Michael Jackson Shkwamban, present. Whitney Houston Ricoto, present. 50 Cent and Kateko Fai Bob Maluleke, present. And then they go, Michael Jackson Maluleke, like there's always a second one. So people need to find a way of giving kids good names. Like in black schools, we're really battling. How many of you are in government schools? All of you in government schools? Government schools, I love government schools because when my parents got divorced, that's when I went to a government school and I realized it was different. In the morning, it was not your everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. That's like a white school. In a black school, the songs they sing have nothing to do with the school. Like when the mayor brings a cup, they go, Zakaugi brings a pit. Oh, na, Zakaugi bring. And these boys, they sound 25, but they're 18. And then the girls, you can see, they already have boyfriend. Uyandi bulala. Zakaugi brings a pit. Oh, na. Uyandi bulala. Like, we need to find a way of getting things right. We can't have our schools still suffering in terms of class distinction. Because class distinction in Zima is going. If your parents have got money, we can tell by the lunchbox. But Abu Mistress, you used to call them Abu Mistress. You guys have persevered with raising kids. And no one wastes time like teachers. And if you are in a black school, just know you are a teacher's watch. Because Abu Mistress, and then the kids must kill time. They say, come on. Then the kids, Betty Potter bought a bit of butter. Later she realized the bit of butter was bitter. Then she says, please, Mr. Potter, give me a better. Again, Betty Potter bought a bit of butter. But the songs that the kids are singing now are very spiteful. The country is suffering unemployment. The country is now serious. Now we speak Afrikaans now. Now we wake up and rehearse, and the country is being restored. Even teachers are going to start losing weight. They're not going to look like tenderpreneurs now. Because when the previous regime was in charge, TV, all South Africans had a good physique. Because the first thing you would switch a TV on and see was a white guy with 2 girls. Hit a retreat board, hit a retreat board, treat board, hit a. There you knew it's gymming. It's 1 and 2, 3. There was no such thing as waking up and see food on TV. Those things were all gone. And another thing that is said about our schools, it's late coming. We can't have late coming still happening even today. But even Abu Mistress themselves, they are late. And the thing that makes our teacher late is the thing, there's no food eskolweni. There's no canteen eskolweni. There's nothing that happens eskolweni. That's why our teacher be sitting apparently and go and buy food and do all of those things. And the only thing that kills time eskolweni is the singing. Why were kids allowed and meant to sing all the time? Like in a station, do the kids still do stations? Twitter station, you knew you were in a black school when you had to Twitter station. And still the station, Nakona, it had nothing to do with being smart. We had to do jokes. We had to do things that teachers wanted to do. Like you could sing things that are not even there. And we teach her okay, in 5, 4, 3, 2. Izinyoni ezinhlanu zihleze emthini enye yathi bheka laphayana. And then you're like, okay, what does 5 birds have to do with anything to study? That's why even the kids in our schools, now we employ Zimbabweans. But I wonder how you guys deal with the new kids, because in our schools now we've got Nigerian kids. They don't look like all the other kids. We've got Zimbabwean kids who come to school with an accent. And I always ask myself, why were we taught English in black schools? The English we taught was only for direction, not for conversation. Because teachers would ask you one thing, what's your name? Your name only. A white kid, what's your name? My name is Keegan. My dad is a Liverpool fan, and I like him. Done. In a black school, when they ask you your name, it had to be your full identity. Like, my name is Isaac. I live at 408 Gamma Street. And I ask myself and say, one day I'd love to adopt a white kid. Just adopt a white kid and take him to a black school and leave him in a supermarket where all the white kids are going to see him, and all the white people say, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a little boy here, and we're just going to ask him actually who his parent is. He's wearing red shirts, and if this is your son, please kindly come. And then they ask him his name. What's your name? He says, ndihlala eMdantsane, utata amgulizo, umama amgulo, wow, eskate espink, uyabathanda abanye otata. That is it. We were never taught anything. We were never taught English for conversation. But now Afrikaans is back. And Afrikaans has got a very strong influence. Afrikaans needs to come back to the schools, because Afrikaans helps us when we travel. South Africans, we take Afrikaans lightly here, but when we go to Europe, we do the same thing that Nigerians do here. Mathematics is important. At school, you need to teach kids currency. Because the kids, they hear Nigerian guys saying, I'm actually here. Now I'll deposit 65 billion naira for you to eat, ma. And then at school, then our girls don't know currency. Like, I animal, show me. And 65 billion naira is not even 10,000 rand in South Africa. So, Tinake, we pull the same stunt when we go to Europe. When we see Nigerian girls, we say, Piet, waar is jy? Ach nee, goed, baie dankie. Wat kan ons eet? Aardappels en wortels? En boerewors, is dit? Then the Nigerian girl is like, oh, what a man! You can hear he's from Switzerland, the way how he speaks. And they don't know that it's only Afrikaans. We need to teach our people how to travel. I was disappointed at some point when I was in East London recently. Actually, I was from Epofol. And Monti, I greet this Italian guy who owns a restaurant. And I'm like to him, Renzo, come stai? He says, ça va bien. He says, che ho che la mangiare? A mangiare adesso. Then he says, now. Then this Xhosa guy is like, eta, hayi ndiyaniva, nithetha nge-millions nesigrut man. I'm like, hayi kukutya ta, hayi million esenthetha ngazo. Can't fuck, and I'm tired. And I'm like, really? Xhosa people really love money. And when you don't look like you have money, they think you're foreign. I met some girls, but and I see these girls and I know them. Guys, we need to teach people that being rich is not sexually transmitted. That's where it needs to start first. Because these kids, they skip school to date these old rich men. And then they see me, and I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, I know you. When at time then I keep quiet, because it doesn't think that I'm half closer. So I'm like, when at time month end. Like, month end? Then I become tricky to save my money. I'm like, ngubani izituko zakho? At time intombi no budget. Into engatyiwa mahala. Uno overdraft. Uswipe and sitye. Into yezitipend. I'm like, What? We need to prepare the curriculum that traveling is everything. Because that's how the government gets to break leverage. The kids who are not good at school, they must just travel. It's easy. You travel, you become a waiter, you work in London, you come back, you can afford standard of living. Because once you don't travel, you messed up. Like now, we still have kids, we learn a lot of things that are not important. LO, what does it do? Guidance. You know, in a black school, free period, guidance. I don't care. It was so embarrassing in 2010 when I came back to South Africa with this girl I was with. And she says to me, we walk into a shop, Fabiani, le fako teacher, les colotin. So we walk in, and she says to me, chérie, and I say, oui. She says, voulez-vous avoir le blouson blanche ou noir? She says, non, je veux mieux être les maçonné. So these guys are like, and they think French is actually an accent, like, boys. So they go to her and say, Joale, Bitola Chachokima, Kikopolom Pedi Nomoro Tahao, Kikopela Nyobi. I'm like, this guy, they think it's shit. You know, you guys are the luckiest. I'm on the government. You guys are the only people who've got cats, who've got names like, sick leave, or responsibility leave. And you guys, you go on holiday. We can't go on holiday, we go all the time. And you guys are like your own big brother. You know, teachers. It's like on Big Brother, where you watch people who are taking a bath. You watch people who just eat and sleep. And then you know that, come nan bang teacher. Because me and my friends were sitting, I bring my cat. I call him Couture, because he looks like Karl Lagerfeld. He's got long hair. And I said, Couture, please do your thing. And then Katsiam started walking like a model. And they clapped hands. Then my friend is an architect. He calls his cat to spread shit. He says, spread shit, do your thing. Spread shit, cuts biscuits into 4, puts them down, and take drops of milk and spit on them. And hello, teacher, busy Katsiak. What is sick leave? Kababoni says, and don't it in a guy. Ya fiki katsi ya cha zonki biscuits ya beta nezezi ya lala gonga tingo Big Brother. So what you guys are responsible for the character of South Africans. In France, there's no private education, there's no public education. Everyone thinks the same. Here we've got a serious problem because that needs to be bridged. You can't have class distinction in thinking. Class distinction is supposed to be social. It doesn't have to be mental. But in a township, because the aspirations of Andwana zinzim. In a private school, the kids, they all want to be decent citizens. In a township, kids really don't care, because it's hard to deal with kids who don't want to be anything. When you ask them, Uzaba in Tonwen, Ada Saubona, ma'am. So bona kona mistress. Mina net mangangena nibe chief ebon ngispane or ngenzeni. You can't have kids like that. Kids need to know what they want to be. The career exposed. Nobody wants to be a teacher. When you ask all these kids, and they don't know that's the cradle of learning. But you guys have fucked up the accent yabantuan. Because once kids go to a class, you can tell how they speak. Umntana 4 ati kune situation. And it's a situation. It's a bloody situation. Ati is situation. It's the matter. But now kids are messed up because you guys are dealing with problems. You know, kids have got, the Department of Education needs to register the kindergartens too. Because in townships, kindergartens are different. Abantwana, they go to a Zimbabwean crash. By how they talk, they go to school and think South African education is weak. Because you ask him, what are you going to do? It's like, I feel like devouring some lactose, a bit of lactose that needs to come with very good tons of rye bread and oats. And you say that kid, they know bombastics. We need to teach our kids that you don't need bombastics. Because life cannot be a Big Brother movie where kids go to school and do nothing. So the next thing you need to teach kids is the importance of travel. Not geography, not accounting. Teach them not to owe people money. Oh yes, we need to cut that mentality of debt. We need to teach kids that they need to baba gym. Imagine you raise the kids and
what are you doing, Isaac?
So,
Gashe Windsor.
Guys, I'm the MC here. Who's this guy talking?
This is Big Brother.
Hi, Big Brother.
Isaac, according to Big Brother, you have been evicted. This means, Isaac, that you should leave the stage immediately. Dineo Ranaka and Lutuli Jamini, please join us on stage.
How? Just like that. Shall never lose his power.
This is Big Brother. Dineo Ranaka and Lutuli Jamini, please join us on stage immediately.
Be here. Glad to meet you, my man. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we today? Good. Well, welcome. Let's be happy today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the Matthew Goniwe annual lecture. We humbly welcome the Goniwe family to this auspicious occasion, and we celebrate the legendary, highly appreciated activist and martyr to all who gave us our liberation. I beg your pardon. Please be seated, be comfortable, and enjoy this spectacular journey that we are about to embark on. Please also remember to adhere to all COVID-19 related protocols at all times. This event will be recorded, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll ask that all movement be kept to a minimum. Also, anyone who needs the ablutions, they are to your left and to your right, outside. Ladies and gentlemen, please, at this point, may we stand for the national anthem. Thank you very much. This we'll talk. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big round of applause to Denzel. Thank you, Denzel, on the saxophone. I used to play the saxophone. Is that an alto sax? Beautiful. I did, I promise. I used to play the saxophone. I don't know why people don't believe me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Very few things can touch the soul like a rousing rendition of a country's national anthem. Absolutely beautiful, don't we agree? All protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 21st Matthew Goniwe Memorial Lecture. Combined with the 21st National Teaching Awards, it is indeed humbling to be among those who individually and collectively shape the country's future leaders and captains of industry. It is said that teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions. And this evening, we are here to honor the great men and women who motivate others to greatness, starting with the courageous Matthew Goniwe himself. A much-loved maths and science teacher, co-founder of the school, and later a principal, Mr. Goniwe did not just impart knowledge, but inspired his pupils to be curious, disciplined, and ambitious. It's heartening to see that this legacy of his lives on through the Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance, a globally networked development institution in the education sector that has been established by the Gauteng Department of Education and Research to develop and deliver premier capacity building programs and related service offerings. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome on stage the Chief Executive Officer of the Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance, Advocate Thulani Makubela. Please, round of applause. By the way, starters will be served. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please.
Thank you very much to each and every one of you who has made it out here today. A special word of welcome to those who have been with us since the journey of the Matthew Goniwe lecture started a couple of years ago. Thank you very much, and a special word of welcome to those who are joining us for the first time today. I wish to welcome all of you, and I want to tell you that we are very pleased that this event has taken place today, especially given the pandemic that all over the world we are suffering under. My name is Thulani Makhubela, as I have been introduced, and I am the CEO of Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance. We started this journey of having a lecture a couple of years ago. The board took that particular decision, and we decided that we should go and consult with the Goniwe family and get their blessings, as we should have. We are pleased that they welcomed us and gave us an opportunity to host this lecture, and in fact, they have walked the journey with us. For that, we are eternally grateful. It is for this reason that they always are a part of this event. Not only them, but leaders of the progressive movements in Cradock are also here with us today. A special word of acknowledgement to our MEC of Education, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, who is here with us today. The Chairman of the Education Portfolio Committee in Gauteng, Mr. Chilwane. In Ngcuba District Municipality and Cradock, represented by the Executive Mayor, Ms. Nongceba Zonke, the Speaker, Ms. Thembi Mbokya, the Chief Whip, Ms. Lena Davids, MMC, Mr. Sbongile Masango, to the esteemed Goniwe family and Cradock community, and leaders of the progressive movement, the Matthew Goniwe Board of Director Chairperson, Mr. Tsidiso Lidimu, our board members who are all here today. A special word of welcome to our guest speaker. And ladies and gentlemen, may I offer an apology on behalf of Professor Chilidzi Marwala, who was supposed to be the guest speaker for tonight, but is held up and couldn't make it back from Namibia. And he will be ably represented by Professor Mashau, who's the Dean of Engineering at UJ, and Dr. D. Vuma, who's the Head of Department in Engineering in UJ. Our business partners, the HOD of Education, Mr. Edward Musuwe, executives of MGSLG and the GDE, our National Teacher Awards recipients and nominees, our learners, and all guests. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight our theme is enhancing leadership and improved governance in the education system amidst the advent of 4IR COVID-19 pandemic challenges. Isn't it ironic that, in fact, the lecture wasn't held last year because of this very pandemic? And as we gather today, we gather in the midst of a looming fourth wave, which the government has and our scientists have warned us about. And in fact, there's also a new variant that has been discovered. and the world is going crazy about it. And we hope that our scientists will ably deal with it, and we will not suffer the fate that we suffered during the first and second waves. Mine was to introduce our speakers and acknowledge our MEC and all the guests that are here. I hope that you all will have a great time with us tonight. I hope that you will find this just as inspiring as we wanted it to be. And I hope that we would continue to perpetuate and to live the legacy that Matthew Goniwe left for all of us. With those words, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to say welcome to all of you, and please do have fun with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Advocate Makobela. Please give him a round of applause. Please, he does deserve it. Okay, you need to sanitize. COVID protocols, absolutely. And what's your name?
Nomsa.
Nomsa. Say hello to Nomsa, ladies and gentlemen. Great, thank you very much. Hi, Nomsa. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again to the advocates. For our board overview, I'd like to call to stage Board Chairperson, Mr. Sidiso Ledimo. Again, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Program Director, for the opportunity you granted me to speak on behalf of the board. Let me do a few acknowledgements before I present the message from the board tonight. Indeed, I want to acknowledge the Honorable MEC of Education and Youth Development in our province, Honorable Panyaza Lusufi, and acknowledge the head of department and the team. Also acknowledge the Matthew Goniwe executive and all staff who are here. Acknowledge the deputy chairperson of the board, together with all other board members who are here. The esteemed family of the late Matthew Goniwe, led by Bishop Goniwe, who is here with a delegation from the Eastern Cape, particularly Craddock, including the leadership in that vicinity. We also wish to acknowledge the presence of the mayor, as indicated by the CEO. All recipients of awards tonight, the best of our teachers in the province. A special acknowledgement goes to all of you who are here and all stakeholders who have a relationship with Matthew Goniwe and all guests here present. We are very pleased as the board of Matthew Goniwe to have successfully started the Matthew Goniwe Annual Memorial Lecture. And we're also very pleased that through the engagements of the leadership of our MEC, we combined the lecture with the National Teaching Awards. And I think this is the second time we host an event in this format. At Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance, we carry a very huge responsibility because the institution is named after a hero. The institution is named after one of our icons, a teacher, not only a teacher, a committed teacher, a politician in his own right, a community builder. During his lifetime, before the apartheid regime killed him and 3 other comrades, he made a huge contribution towards education transformation in particular, and transformation of our society in general. And having been named after him, we pause every moment, and this is such a moment, and say to ourselves, are we living up to the values for which Matthew Goniwe stood? Can we be able to live up to that particular standard? For when we learn and read history books, we understand that Matthew Goniwe loved his people. So are we able, in whatever we do as an institution, to express that in everything we do? And I can tell you that we deliberately adopted values which must underpin what we do at Matthew Goniwe. And it is our expectation, and we always do that in the performance of our oversight role, a very big role that has been bestowed upon us by the MEC, and providing good governance at that institution. We always ensure that the executive and the entire staff of Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance live up to those values. We have deliberately adopted the values of Ubuntu because we understand that's what of the values that Matthew Goniwe carried. We have adopted the value of collaboration. This institution is in collaboration with many partners who have interest in education transformation. We understand that Matthew Goniwe collaborated not only with the 3 comrades who died on that fateful night, but with the entire community of Craddock and even beyond that. So collaboration was at the center of his work at all times. We have adopted the value of accountability, and because we understand that during his lifetime, and he was killed at his prime, we must say, he was a disciplinarian. And a disciplinarian will hold you accountable if you go wrong. Not only a disciplinarian, but he was loved by the children and loved by the community. So we uphold the value of accountability in everything that we do. Because he was a teacher, Matthew Goniwe was a professional, highly professional in the manner he carried his duties. Not only was he a politician who after hours would rally the community behind the oppressive regime, but when he was at school, he carried himself with a high level of professionalism, in that he taught mathematics and physical science not only from 8 to 2 o'clock. We understand that he carried himself even beyond the call of duty, including weekends and holidays, to ensure that the children who were put under his custody, first as a teacher and later as a principal, are prepared for the future. We uphold the value of innovation because we understand that wherever he was seated, he had the future in mind. People who have the future in mind are always innovative in character. He knew that even when he's not with us today, that one day this country will be free. This is why he laid down his life to do all the work that needed to be done at that time as a contribution to the broader national and international struggle to ensure that there's a democratic dispensation today. Had he lived, what would Matthew Goniwe be saying today about our education system? That's a big question I want us to take home, all of us. Had Matthew Goniwe lived, what would be his view about the current dispensation in education? We're currently battling COVID-19. Teachers have had to adapt at a lightning speed and do teaching and learning in a very different way. The institution, Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance, also has had to adapt its programs to be able to remain relevant under this rapidly changing environment. Are the tools that we are employing currently sufficient to prepare our children for the future? We're very happy to have a visionary MEC in our Honorable Panyaza Lesufi in this province. Online teaching was introduced even before the advent of COVID-19. And COVID-19 has brought us one reality, that the conventional, traditional ways of teaching have become irrelevant. And MEC, when you introduce smart boards, many of us were reluctant. What is the MEC trying to do? We're used to the chalk and the chalkboard. Now he wants us to go and train and start using smart boards. We're comfortable with chalkboard and a chalk. We have been doing it for donkey years. How does he expect us to change? Even before the advent of COVID, we're very grateful to have him in our midst, because then the reality before us is that chalkboard and the chalk must ultimately be buried. That's where the world is going. That's where the whole world is going. Lest we produce learners who will become redundant in the midst of poverty, unemployment, inequality. We will produce learners who will not be able to take their rightful role. So online or ICT is with us, and all of us are expected to adapt to the new circumstances in the interest of that learner and in the interest of our country as a whole. We're very pleased to see the recipients of the awards tonight, because in our view, all of you who are here to receive tokens of appreciation are the cream of the cream. You are the best of the best in our province. And we appreciate all the efforts you have made to have reached this point in your teaching career, to rise to a stage and be awarded for being among the best of the best. In that way, you represent part of what Matthew Goniwe embodied: dedication to his work, the hard work that goes behind teaching and learning, confronted with those children who come from poverty-stricken backgrounds, but motivating them to be able to take their rightful role later on in their lives. He represented sacrifice, and he made the ultimate sacrifice when the regime killed him and others on that fateful day in 1985. So we celebrate you. We're grateful that we have the caliber of the teachers in you, in our schools, and we hope that the spirit that you carry will be able to persuade many other teachers so that this spirit permeates throughout the province, and we continue to have the hardworking, dedicated, highly professional, and the best teachers that we see in you. So we celebrate you. As we celebrate this icon, we are rightfully representing what Matthew Goniwe represented. Stay with us and celebrate, and let's all sustain the rich legacy of Matthew Goniwe. Thank you very much.
Many know Matthew Goniwe as a fearless activist, a proud politician, an active struggle stalwart, and heroic martyr. Yes, many know Matthew for what he went through and what he achieved for our country and its people. But not many people know who Matthew Goniwe was, who Matthew Goniwe really is. Many don't know that he was a loving man, a caring man, a man who put everyone's needs before his own. Many don't know that his yearning to better understand the people he taught was just as strong as his yearning to be a better teacher. What would Matthew Goniwe do in 2021?
I do wonder what Matthew Goniwe would do in 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, before we proceed with today's program, please let us take some time to pay tribute to Mrs. Nyameka Goniwe, the humble and dedicated wife of Matthew Goniwe, who sadly left us late last year. Not only was she the mother of Matthew's two wonderful children, Nobuzwe and Nyaniso, I beg your pardon, she was also a qualified social worker and strong-willed homemaker and anchor to the Goniwe household when Matthew was active in his duty towards our liberation, even through incarceration. The backbone and genuine support system to the legendary man we are celebrating today. Lala ngoxolo, Mam Nyameka. It is through your personal and communal sacrifices that we are where we are today. May we please welcome to the stage the Goniwe family representative, Bishop Mbulelo Goniwe. Please, a round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen.
Dimameleni situation zakuthi athi ke mna ntoka Matebese athi ke mna into ukuthinta ukuthetha ndifanele unikhahlela ukuba ndithetha ngenkokheli ndifanele ukunika imbeko ukuba ngumntana omhle lo ndifanele umnika imbeko ukuba ngumntana omhle kumampondo kothahla kondayeni ndifanele umnika imbeko ukuba ngumntana omhle kwizizwe zonke ezithe zabakho phakathi kwenu ndithetha ngaye ke uMatthew Goniwe ekwathi ngomnyaka wewaka elinamakhulu asithoba anamashumi asibhozo anesihlanu igazi lakhe laphalala kwindlela zase-Eastern Cape ndithetha ngendlela ezaphalala ngexesha lakhe ezokwenza umzabalazo kodwa ndimbona xa ezabalaza esimka ngenxeni yabantu abakhanya indlebe ezikhanya ilanga kodwa ngoku ndinombuzo endinawo phakathi kwethu lo nto uyilwela xa ungena kumhlaba waseKaradokhwe xa ujongile usihla ubona isixeko siqwebile sihlininika sisibi xa ujonga kwindawo alele kuyo ubona kubutshididi kunzima kwindawo alele kuyo. Yile nto wayeyilwelana yile nkululeko sithetha ngayo na inkululeko le eyahla ukwenzela uba bonke abantu baphile. Ndithetha ngayo ke umfo kaGoniwe into ekunyathela kuhle ngeyaqhweqwa kuba igcina isidima nomfaneleko into ekunyathela phezulu igqadaza xa umsebenzi ufuna ugqiba. Ndivumeleni ndithi yinkokheli ngoba nguThahla Mundayeni nguFaku uzalwa nguye uMampinga nazo zonke izikwele ezinebango phakathi kwakhe. Ndisithi makube qhosi kubehele mabusuku bumnyama kuvela ukhanya ndiyacamagusha.
Thank you, Program Director. All protocols observed. Special greetings to the MEC, the HOD, our hosts, the board, the CEO and the staff. I want to do just a few things. I will not take long. Firstly, we would like to dedicate this glamorous occasion to first and foremost the people of Craddock, Lingelihle, the Goniwe family, people of the Eastern Cape, and indeed the people of South Africa as a whole. We would like to declare it a fitting tribute in recognition and acknowledgement of the contributions and sacrifices of all our liberation struggle heroines and heroes, personified in this instance in Matthew Timothy Mateu Goniwe, the son of David and Nomakula Mampinga. We call upon the spirits of the recently departed family members of the Goniwe family, Alex Zwelinzima Goniwe, Nyameka Caroline Goniwe, and other family members of the Goniwes, all our relatives, brothers and sisters who succumbed to the COVID-19. May the presence of their souls enrich this occasion. Lastly, we extend our heartfelt appreciation to the government of Gauteng, the Department of Education, and indeed the institution that has made it possible for us to be here today, the Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance. We endorse this occasion and are very grateful for the honor and the privilege that you have afforded us as the Goniwe family. Thank you very much.
Applause, ladies and gentlemen. A big round of applause, please, for the Bishop. Next, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce someone to the stage who, well, grew up just a 60 Rand Uber ride from here, at Tembisa. The MEC of the future. The MEC who probably introduced smart schools before Samsung introduced smart TVs. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause to our MEC for Youth and Development, Right Honorable Panyaza Lesufi. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We meet again, sir. That one.
Thank you so much, Program Director Babli Tuli. The entire leadership of the department, represented here by our HOD, the leadership of Matthew Goniwe, represented here by the chairperson of the board, the leadership of the legislature, told the chairperson of our portfolio committees here, Ntate Matume Chilwan, the leadership that is representing Professor Chilizi Mahwala. I want to thank you for agreeing to step in at the last moment. But most importantly, the Goniwe family and the entire delegation from Kredok, the executive mayor, Sabulela Siswam Kakulu, the speaker, and everyone that is here coming from that part of the world. I want to acknowledge and thank our educators who are honoring this evening and reaffirm the statement that without you there is no education. That we are what we are because we had educators. And also apologize that we are honoring you as a province so late when you have already represented us at the national platform. Partners and stakeholders in education, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it pains me a lot that for the very first time, I stand in front of you to honor Matthew Goniwe in the absence of our beloved sister, mother, Nyameka Goniwe. It pains me that I stand in front of you to honor our educators in the absence of those educators that perished through COVID because they chose to teach when it was difficult for them to come and teach. I stand in front of you to salute and honor those that have left this world, the doctors, nurses, and hospital staff that had a choice to say no, but they chose yes, so that all of us today can be here and survive COVID. I urge you, ladies and gentlemen, that as we enter the fourth wave of this monster, the only thing that I can say and say to all of you, let's observe the protocols and ensure that we remain safe. We remain hopeful that we can touch that day. We can touch that day where we can declare and say we have defeated COVID because majority of us have vaccinated. To all the educators that have vaccinated, I want to salute you this evening. We received a report, I was with the HOD, of public servants that have vaccinated in our province, and the Gauteng Department of Education received the highest number of people that vaccinated because majority of our educators chose to vaccinate. You may take it lightly, ladies and gentlemen. These educators have chosen to protect our children and protect the sector. To all our staff members that have also vaccinated, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is the only sector, if it's protected, the future can be bright. But I want to register my concern that we can't fold our arms and say it's normal, while our children are only attending 2 times a month through the rotational system. It's a travesty of justice because for the very first time, for those that fought for quality education for all, the poorest of the poor are facing a bleak future until drastic measures are taken so that all our children can come back to the classroom. We can't be proud to honor you educators when we know that majority of our children are spending more time at home rather than in the classroom. I want to call upon the minister and the team that we need to revisit this matter. The sooner we have all our children back in the classroom, the better. Ladies and gentlemen, as we honor Matthew Goniwe and all educators that are going to receive their awards this evening, we must do so with one thing in mind. We have to protect our children. Me and you came here in Gauteng looking for gold. Me and you came here in Gauteng looking for that shining stone. Me and you came to this province looking for that evasive stone. That stone is gone. The future gold of this province is our children and the children that are in our classrooms. If we can protect these children, we would have missed an opportunity to develop our province. We are called the economic hub of our province. We are called the center of the economy of our province, and therefore there is an urgent need for us to change the approach of education in our province. I know I might upset many people, but to me, we would have failed in our mandate if those that are in the township get bad education and those in the suburbs get quality education. We would have failed in our responsibilities if we can't match all our communities so that a best teacher must teach all of us, so that a best teacher must not be confined to those that have resources to pay and those that have resources to get quality education. I want to urge you to join us as a department when we publish what we call the reconfiguration of the education sector in Gauteng, so that there's no difference between a school in the township and the school in the suburbs. I want you to join us when we introduce a new model of education in our province, a model that will ensure that a good principal can be a principal of all our children in all our province. I want you to join us when we introduce a model where it's possible that a teacher or a principal can be a principal of Alexander High, at the same time be a principal of Bryanston High, at the same time be a principal of Senton High. It is possible, so that we can break the backbone of apartheid education in our province. That's the answer that we've been asked. What should we do, or what will Matthew Goniwe do in 2021? Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the center of the economy of our country. And therefore, our introduction of what we call schools of specialization is an indication that we are moving from the common sense of education to an education that makes economic sense. We are moving away from a common sense of education to an education that makes economic sense. Gone are the days where our children should spend more time in a classroom praising a frog, saying "Sehwa, hwa, sehwa, hwa, sehwa." When other children are taught how to fly drones, when other children are taught how to create products that all of us can be proud to utilize. So I'm proud, ladies and gentlemen, that our schools of specialization will be schools that will give our children an opportunity to produce products so that we convert this country from a country of consumers to a country of producers. You need quality educators. You need educators that can understand this commitment. What do I mean when I say schools of specialization? I mean a school where the dream that I have that one day a child in our school will develop a toilet seat. When you sit in that toilet seat, it will ask you for your WhatsApp number of your doctor. And when you punch the WhatsApp number of your doctor, after delivering what you are delivering in that toilet, the toilet seat will send a message to your doctor and say, "Dear doctor, out of what I've assessed here, I really believe the stages of cancer are about to set in. Resolve it before it sets in." That's the future we want to introduce. A future where our children will develop a fridge or refrigerator. While you are still at work, you'll send a message to the refrigerator and say, "Dear refrigerator, please defrost this meat and put it at this particular heat so that by the time I arrive at home, the fridge will say, 'Dear Mamsi, your food is ready.'" That's the future we believe it's possible. That's the future we believe the educators that are in this room are capable to deliver that future. Ladies and gentlemen, gone are the days where we should worry whether a teacher is in class. Ladies and gentlemen, gone are the days where we should worry whether a teacher will complete the syllabus. Gone are the days where we should worry whether a teacher will come to school drunk or not. Gone are the days where we should worry that a teacher will arrive at work and forge when he signs, when he was not there tomorrow, and sign backward instead of signing forward. We need to revolutionize this education system. I say so because I'm very proud of our higher education system, hence we have invited the University of Johannesburg. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no single university in this country that is producing teachers for private schools. There is no single university in this country that is producing teachers for Curo. There is no single university that is producing teachers for public education. All teachers are trained from the same pot, and all teachers are capable to give us the same results. And I therefore argue very strongly that with the caliber of teachers that we have, it's indeed possible to change the face of education in our province. We are proud. We have introduced a school of aviation here in Kempton Park next to the airport. This school of aviation, with international associations that have partnered with us, our children in that particular school are taught how to fly, and they are taught how the engine of an aeroplane works, and they are taught how to ensure that they communicate with the aviation system up there while they are still in grade 11. We are proud that we have introduced a school of engineering in the middle of Soweto. Today, those learners that entered that school, instead of demonstrating how skillful they are demonstrating how they can take and aim a drone to fly freely from Soweto to as far as Sandton to ensure that they learn about. This is the kind of education that we want. An education system that is relevant to the economy. An education system that will make Matthew Goniwe proud. An education system that will take our country out of the quagmire that we find ourselves in. So we are here to thank you. We are here to honor you. But we are here to send one strong message to our government as well. Our teachers deserve better, and our teachers deserve more incentives, and our teachers, for us to recruit the best, we must ensure we treat them well. In the absence of that, we'll never attract the best teachers in the system. We can't have everyone that wants to launch a product, the first people that they have in mind is to recruit our teachers to promote products. We can't have a situation where those that don't value teachers are the first ones that are promoted within the system. Those that raffle teachers are the ones that are seen as better people than teachers themselves. To our educators, I want to commit myself with the honor that I have to be an MEC of education in this province. Those that do good, I will protect you. Those that want the future, I will protect you. But those that are doing bad within the education system, I'll be the first one to say, leave us in peace so that we can recruit the best to continue with us. So this lecture is directed to you, educators. This lecture, it's meant to award you, to honor you for your sacrifices, your commitment, and many other things that you are doing. But I want to take a detour and differ with everything that you have done, we have been told, and everything that you are doing because we are told this is a calling. I want to differ. People are abusing the word it's a calling to avoid to reward educators. Yes, it might be a calling, but it must not be an abuse. Yes, it might be a calling, but it must be rewarding. That is why some of us have presented an evidence and we have said and wants to argue that to get the best educators and to satisfy educators in this country, our teachers must be given their salaries tax-free as a country. I know others have argued against this view, but those that have argued against this view, they've never provided an alternative view on the table. You can't tell me if you give teachers their tax-free salaries, what about magistrates? What about doctors? What about nurses? What about social workers? They are what they are because of the teacher. I follow closely so the education system of Singapore. Singapore, if you check the teachers of Singapore, at the first year of being a teacher, they already receive a salary. And when they conclude their studies, the most protected career in Singapore is an educator. But what do we do with our educators? We are not protecting them and we are not supporting them. So I want to thank former President Jacob Zuma for establishing a commission to look at the conditions of employment of educators. This commission was established, you know, Tadelidimu, and another commission of state capture was established. But the commission of state capture is about to release its results. But the first commission on the conditions of employment of educators has not even given us a draft report. That's how we treat our educators. We believe if we take a state capture and elevate it, we are better off. Whereas what we need to elevate is the conditions of our educators. So to all our educators, I say, don't give up. There is no country without you. To all our educators, we need to change things that we really believe need to be changed. And I'm one person that is not scared to change things. And I know SGBs, I know teacher unions will fight me. The time has arrived that the appointment of principals should not be like we're appointing councillors, with due respect. It can't be the best that can lobby and lobby wrong people can be principals in our education system. We are not saying SGBs must not be part of appointing principals. We are believing we need 100% score point, 10% of the score point must be SGBs, 90% it must be peers of those particular principals that must determine if you are capable to be a principal. Because if we can't do that, if you can't do that, those that can lobby and buy free...
was a very...
Okay, this I must conclude probably. Let me conclude. If you can't do that, ladies and gentlemen, those that can lobby SGB members and buy them fridges, washing machines are ending up being principals in our schools. As I'm standing here, we've got 38 schools for the last 2 years. They don't have principals. 38 schools in the last 2 years, they don't have principals. Why? You appoint a principal, a person that was part of the interview lodges a dispute. When you deal with the dispute, the one that was happy also lodges a dispute. Ladies and gentlemen, we are delaying the future for our children because a good school stands and falls on a good principal. But if you spend more time and have 2 years where you have never appointed a principal because there is a dispute, we can't move. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by saying to the Matthew Goniwe family, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for giving us this name. There may be many people who think that we are obsessed with history. There may be many people who think that this is bygones and bygones let be bygones. We committed when we buried Matthew Goniwe that we'll never forget you. We committed when we buried Matthew Goniwe that they might kill you, but they will never kill your ideas. We committed to Matthew Goniwe that even though you are dead and buried, we'll carry your name to the ultimate end, where our children are treated as equal. So forgive us if you think we are obsessed with history. Forgive us if we feel this name should be forgotten. I want to thank the family for giving us that name. And I want to assure you that I have a special place for this institution because it carries a special name. And that will never fail you. To the educators that are going to receive awards this evening, congratulations. But that's the beginning. That's the beginning of everything, and that's the beginning of the future. I want to assure you, we are changing the landscape of education in this province. As the chairperson have said, people thought we were dreaming when he said 1 learner, 1 tablet, 1 teacher, 1 laptop, 1 classroom, 1 smart board, 1 school, 1 connectivity. That's the future. If you think the future is about toilets, it's about storage, it's about electricity, it's about water. The future in the classroom is about data, and it's about how teachers can teach our children better. So I want to congratulate all the educators, and I want to thank those that represented us on the national stage. To you, we want to say, Lidi Boza Lona, and we want to thank you. And to our families, if they share in your excitement, that's what we need, because we want you to be happy together with your families. To Matthew Goniwe and the department led by our HOD, thank you so much for organizing this event under strict and difficult conditions. I know how painful it was, but I remain hopeful that we'll succeed. In whatever we're doing, we're inspired by these words: tears and sweat taste the same. Both tears and sweat taste salty, but with tears, you get sympathy, but with sweat, you get results. Thank you so much for your attention.
Big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the gentleman who was introducing education relevant to the development of our country. Ladies and gentlemen, MEC for Youth Development and Education. Thank you, sir. At this moment, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a tribute to Mam Nyameka Goniwe and to all educators who have lost or passed on over the past year due to COVID and other related illnesses, the AV, after which we will then have the keynote address. Thank you very much.
Mrs. Nyameka was a very, very strong woman. As you know, Uguti, behind a successful man, there's a strong woman. She was very strong. And most of us as youth, we looked up to her as our role model.
Mam Nyameka was one leader that was so humble, open-minded, very brilliant, and making sure that when he is having ideas, he would share them inclusively with other people.
Her absence is felt in the sense that she was a glue of both the community and also the local municipality.
Nyameka was a very faithful woman because at a very early stage of their marriage, they parted because Matthew got arrested and she was a widow of a live man. But she maintained this dignity as a married person until he came back and they were united.
A very decisive person. She was a soft-spoken person.
She was always mentioned in our location when there are kids that are suffering, that we went to Sisnyam to ask for such a thing. You will never hear her boasting about that. You will never see the pictures, neither in the Facebook and also in the WhatsApp, that this is what she has done. To me, she was a mentor.
He has left a very big gap in unifying our own organization.
Umam Goniwe, she was a mother of all. Incredible.
I knew her as a mother in our community, a soft-spoken person.
She is now gone without knowing who killed her husband. That's the only thing. She didn't get justice for goodness. May her soul rest in peace.
want to sing. On our behalf,
Mama Nyameka Goniwe, and all the educators that passed on from COVID and other reasons, ladies and gentlemen, we remember them today. For our keynote address, Professor Mahwala could not make it. The Vice Chancellor and Principal of the University of Johannesburg unfortunately got stuck in Namibia. He has, however, done a buy one, get another one free offer by sending Professor Mashau, Executive Dean of Engineering at the University of Johannesburg, and Dr. Vuma, who is HOD of Information Systems at the University of Johannesburg. If I may ask them to come to the stage, please. I don't know who's first and who's second, but please, let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you, Prof.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Mashau. As I have been introduced, I'm the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and the Built Environment at the University of Johannesburg. It's really indeed a pleasure for me to be here and also to speak after the MEC. You know, I think for the first time, I'm sure everybody's listening to me, MEC. Because you spoke, you know, and thank you very much. I'd like to pass my regards to the MEC, Panyaza Lusufi. Last time I met him, we were together. I don't know if he remembers, but I do remember. We were at CETA, and it was early 2018, and we were working on that system to put students in schools, and I think it was around 10 p.m. because we were really working very hard to get the system to work. And I still remember then Swallows was not in the league. And I wish I was speaking last year, you know, when Swallows was doing well. Now it looks like it's going back to the lead. Yeah, they haven't won a game in many they've played many games they haven't won. But yeah, no, thank you very much. And also acknowledgement to the chairperson of the board, the CEO, HOD, and all protocol observed. I'm going to be speaking a little bit, I don't want to take too much time, just a little bit on what the future looks like. I've heard what the MEC spoke about, the expectations of what is to come. But just a little bit about myself, from University of Johannesburg. We are very proud of our name. You know, we are associated with a great city of Johannesburg, and we are a new institution, and we'll keep on saying that until we are 50 years old, because, you know, institutions are like, they are measured in dog years, kind of. You know, institutions last many years. Some of the universities are 200 years old. So us, we are just 15 years old, and we are looking forward to doing more. First of all, before I get into my speech, I think I just need to say that we are really grateful. And you have made us proud to be South Africans, that today we can sit together and remember some of the people that have contributed to enabling us today to be where we are, to be able to sit together today and celebrate their lives. Because this shows the efforts that other people have made. They have paid with their lives, they have paid sometimes with their family lives, and they've paid with many things to enable us today to be here. So here we are today. There's a lot of work ahead of us. Let us continue to carry forward the work and make the contributions that are needed. I noticed that the motto of the Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance is educate, empower, and innovate. You know, I'm sure when they were making this, they were debating when they are making a motto to say what words should we use. But I found the words educate, empower, and innovate very powerful. The human species, I read elsewhere, is one of the weakest species when you are born. You know, a human child cannot do anything when they are born. They are so much dependent on other people. That's unlike Springboks. You know, Springboks born today, it's got to learn to run today, because it's not like it can wait tomorrow before it learns how to stand up and run. But with a human baby, you will take those 12 months before you walk, before you crawl and walk. And I think this is symbolic of what is happening with us as human beings. One of the things that we really do need is education, because those early months of your life, you need to be educated. And I realized early in my life that you can't participate in this world without education. You can't be a useful member of the community, of the society, without education. Maybe in the olden days, you could do that, but not anymore. You need to learn something to be able to add The world we are living in is a constantly changing world, and is constantly being disrupted. Right now, the disruption is called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This is a big change. Now, I work at UJ. I lead the biggest faculty in the South Africa Faculty of Engineering. We have about 10,000 students, so we are bigger than even some institutions. And as I walk every day to university, I see people advertising the Fifth Industrial Revolution. You know, we teach the Fifth Industrial Revolution. And I always tell myself, people who are talking about the Fifth Industrial Revolution don't really know what is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Because if you know what is the Fourth Industrial Revolution, you will not speak about the Fifth Industrial Revolution. And today I just want to give you a brief discussion on this, on what is the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The Fourth Industrial Revolution is not fashion. You know, fashion is something that is in today and tomorrow is out. The Fourth Industrial Revolution is very transformative. It's like getting into a wormhole where we really do not know what the outcome is going to look like. The Fourth Industrial Revolution produces three things: new technologies, new business models, and new values. And this is very important, because what the Fourth Industrial Revolution is doing is taking four kinds of technologies. It's taking biological technologies, it's taking digital technologies, it's taking materials, it's taking energy technologies, and it's converting them into these three things. The three things are cyber technologies, new business models, new innovative business models, and new values. And I want to give you an example of this. For example, do you know that the difference between you and any other human being is less than 0.1% in terms of DNA? The difference between me and some Eskimo woman, if you were to look at our DNA, the difference is less than 0.1%, or it's greater than 99.9%. Now the question that I have for you is, we have CRISPR technology, the technology that allows us now to do things that in the past were reserved for God. You know, curing HIV, making sure that curing blindness, and so on and so forth. Many things that were reserved for, only God could do that. But now, this technology, CRISPR technology, we are able to do it. There's a guy in China right now who's in jail because he ensured that the two babies, Lulu and Nana, who were born 2 years ago. He ensured that they do not carry HIV, ability to get HIV. He cured them from that because the father was HIV positive and the mother was not. But he made sure, he went in, changed the cells so that the embryos will carry the ability not to catch HIV. Now, what this guy has done, which has led the Chinese government to put him in jail, is because he's changing a germline of a human race. So CRISPR technology is bringing us to where we will be able to do things like those and even more. But it's also bringing us new questions, because if now you change another human being by 0.1%, are they still human beings? When right now, the difference between me and that Eskimo woman is 0.1, if now you go and change somebody to be 0.2%, and we really don't know yet, but it's something that is in the fourth industrial revolution. It's something that we have not even explored. There are many more things that are taking place. There are many more technologies that are taking place. For example, we have a blockchain technology. Now, when I worked at CITA, I was very interested in that, because blockchain technology allows us to create digital trust. It allows us to create digital trust. We right now operate a lot on analog trust. And I trust you because I was born in Etridgeville and you come from Etridgeville, and I think we know you won't rob me, you won't steal from me, and so on and so forth. Very much analog trust that works at some other points, but it doesn't work in other cases. But right now, the fourth industrial revolution is giving us blockchains. And with blockchain, we can do Bitcoin. With blockchain, we can do certificates. With blockchains, we can build a trust that is mathematically calculatable, that this is true. And this is the world that we are moving into. Well, I don't think we have, even up to this point, explored that to its full capabilities. There's still a lot more that's happening in the fourth industrial revolution that we still have to know. So I can go on and tell you about all these technologies that are generated by the fourth industrial revolution. But let me tell you about the new business models. Because the fourth industrial revolution is generating new business models. I was reading yesterday about the minister talking about, there may not be e-tolls, the user will pay for the Gauteng e-tolls and so on and so forth. But the fourth industrial revolution is able to give you a system where the user doesn't pay. We have Google right now. We all Google. We all use it. The user doesn't pay. It's a business model. It's a very successful one. We have models like Uber, which when I was at the state IT agency, we're very interested in, because it's a model where you provide services without owning the resources. So Uber gives you the largest taxi business. I actually came here via Uber. I'm gonna go back home using Uber, but they're providing a taxi service, but they don't own the resources to do that. And I can tell you there are so many other models that are coming. Some of you might know about South Sweep South, a model where you could get somebody to come and clean your place, and you can just do it on your phone. So your phone is almost becoming like a magic wand. You can use it to order services, you can use it to get help, you can use it to do things. And this is a world we are moving into. We have not really fully explored it. We have business models like Airbnb. Now, most of you would never allow a stranger to come and sleep at their homes, somebody come in and so on. But with Airbnb, you would. It was generating something like 10 million rand a month in Cape Town. People who were offering their places for Airbnb, where people could come and sleep in their places, and then when after that you go rate them, they rate you as a host, and you rate them as a client, and that information stays on the network. Now, those new business models, and I can talk more and more about all of these business models because they are part of what is produced by the fourth industrial revolution. I'm telling you this because I want you to be aware of the solutions that are still embedded in the fourth industrial revolution. I said the fourth industrial revolution produces three things: new technologies, new business models, and a lot of them. The other third thing that the fourth industrial revolution produces is new values. You know, there are monopolies that don't make money, something that we didn't know before. Because before, if you were a monopoly, you were making money. But now we have people offering services for free. We even have new questions we are going to have. They take genes, human genes, put them in a tomato. So I don't know when you eat that tomato, whether you are a cannibal because you are eating a tomato with human genes or not. You know, but those are the new things. What happens when you get killed by a car that is driven by AI, artificial intelligence? You know, who's responsible? The driver, the maker. So many of these new values are coming because the fourth industrial revolution is generating these things. And I can go on and on if we had more time. But the question, the issue I want to leave with you is that the fourth industrial revolution is bringing in new changes. I'm at UJ now. We also know we are going to be disrupted. We are going to be disrupted. Students are going to be asking questions. Should I really be going to where I pay $40,000 a year for accommodation? You know, could I do this at home? Could I study at home? There are issues of micro-credentials. Can I study maybe in the US while I'm here? And so on and so forth. So the fourth industrial revolution, we are just at the beginning. There's a lot more that is coming. The only advice I can give you is that by learning, by continuously learning. So you have reached, for all the people who have been awarded for different categories, you have reached one hill. And as Tata Nelson Mandela said, after you have gone through one hill, you realize there are many more hills to go through. And I want to say to you, there are many more hills to go through. We are at the beginning, and it's really an exciting world. We have the triple challenge in South Africa of poverty, unemployment, and inequity. The fourth industrial revolution will give us the power to solve many of these problems. But for it to be able to effectively do it, it requires you to be part of it. And you can only be part of it if you dedicate yourself to learning more, if you dedicate yourself to reading more, if you dedicate yourself to coming to UJ and getting a PhD, if you make any... Yeah, I can talk a long time, but maybe let me just tell one story and then ask Dr. Vuma to come here. You know, it's a story that was very interesting, MEC. It was a story of comparing black kids and white kids in New York. The usual complaint about the non-performance of black kids was and was that, you know, they are poor and the white kids are rich. You know, that was the usual one. But these guys did a research where they tried to equalize some of these things. Try to equalize if the parents were doing well, if the parents were engineers, will the black kids perform at the same rate as the white kids? And unfortunately, for you, the black kids still underperformed. Then in that article, they gave 10 reasons why. They gave 10 reasons why. Now, you know, I'm telling you a story that I'm thinking about while I'm here, but let me try to remember the reasons. The first reason was the fact that the black kids would do well at school, and then come holidays. When holidays come, The white kids, during holidays, their parents will take them to the zoos, to the museums, but the black kids were staying home during that time. And they looked at that as a contributor of how much they lose during that time when they go back to school. But what really touched me, because I was a young engineer, but I forgot to tell you, and Mr. Lituli here didn't tell you, that I'm the first black South African to get a PhD in engineering. So yeah, you must clap hands for me. So this point was very important for me, because it says that the problem sometimes some of the black kids have is that their parents move too much, you know. So you're an engineer, you move Cape Town, Durban, and you move around, and you don't realize that you're enjoying the moving because people are taking you around as a specialized black person and so on. But your kids are suffering because they have to go and adjust to every new place that you go to. You are enjoying it, but they are not. But the other reason, the third reason, was that our kids, when they go to their grandparents, they spend the whole time playing. Yeah? So if it's holidays, you go to the grandparents, the whole day you are playing. The white kids, when they go to their grandparents, they found encyclopedias, books. The whole room would be full of books and all, and they are reading. Whereas the black kids never got that. They would go, when they go to grandma and grandpa, no, it's playtime the whole time. Wake up in the morning, play until the afternoon. The fourth reason was that sometimes as black parents, we don't read ourselves. Kids never see that. Never see you sitting down. Never see that. You only read for work or maybe at work. Yeah, and it's something that we need to change for our kids. We need to change that. They need to see you struggling with trying to understand difficult concepts. They want to see that because that will inspire them. So they gave 10 reasons. I only remembered 4. There are other 6 reasons, but I found it very interesting because it's things we can change. And the thing I want to emphasize is you need to become an example. You need to read more. You need to try harder, because as you do that, you are inspiring many others that are behind you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation. Dr. Zuma, over to you.
Professor Mashau, it's Dr. Vuma. I can see you just illegally gave me a surname, Dr. Zuma. So yeah, thank you very much, Program Director. And I'm very excited to be here. When I left home, I actually had quite a lot of messages for you, MEC. First is from my husband, who's a Swallows fan. And then he said, greet Swai for me. And then I have a grade 6 and a grade 3 who said, please tell MEC to pass the message to Oros brand to increase the sugar, because all of a sudden the sugar, the Oros doesn't taste so good. Honorable MEC, greetings to you. Chairperson of the board, board members, and family of the Matthew Goniwe family, greetings to all of you, and of course to the Executive Dean, Professor Mashau. You see, when they said you're getting buy one, get one free, they were referring to this. But the free, I'll tell you the story where the free is coming from. I think this was strategically positioned to get the engineer and the IT expert to come in and talk today. But the reason why they said free for me is because I'm a typical product of the University of Johannesburg. So in the same department where I'm head of department, I was a student. So literally, my lecturers, I'm their boss. So that's actually interesting. So I was given a theme to talk about, and I thought, the fourth industrial revolution. You see, when you work for UJ and you don't mention the fourth industrial revolution, the chances of you not getting a bonus are very high. So, but I thought I'm going to talk to the teachers, the people that produced this person, and I thought, let me first just tell you the raw empirical data of who this person is. So my students call me Ma Stella because I'm also a house mother for a ladies' rest, popularly known by some of my fellow students as a village girl. I grew up in Limpopo. I completed my primary school and high school in the township MEC. So growing up in Limpopo, one believed that greener pastures, of course, like MEC said, it's found in the place of gold. Literally because almost everyone that I knew, my cousins, my neighbors, everyone when they passed matric, they traveled to Gauteng. So it was just by default that one has to also join in and travel to Gauteng. But I want to tell you a little bit about how I got into the information technology space. I didn't get any guidance from the institution or the primary school where I was in terms of what is this information technology. So during my high school, I was nominated to represent the district. At that time, it was Kabina Circuit in Limpopo, to go and talk about a topic of my future, your accountability. So when I was talking about that speech, I then got the late radio DJ, who was one of the judges as I was presenting, and he said to me, "You speak so well, you articulate yourself so well. It's very difficult for me to believe that you literally came from a township school. What do you want to be when you grow up?" I think he was recruiting me to be in the communications, or rather to study journalism, which I didn't find fascinating. And I'll tell you why. It's because everybody else around me, because I grew up in Palabora, was studying engineering. Sorry, Professor Mashao. Or they were either in the banking sector or mining engineering in particular. So I wanted to do something different. And he said to me, "Have you ever looked at information technology?" And I was very fascinated to say, what the heck is this information technology? I then started asking myself questions about this IT thing. So I've never heard of it. And the best definition that caught my eye or my attention was defined by the Association for Computing Machinery. And they defined it as, I quote, "undergraduate degree programs that prepare students to meet computer technology business needs, government, healthcare, schools, and any other kind of organizations." Then I thought, there we go. This is something that can put me in any sector of my choice. It doesn't limit me to be in engineering or in education or in banking sector. So I can actually do anything that I want to do. So you may ask, why am I telling you all of this about my journey into information technology? Of course, I came into Joburg, sat in the same classroom where my teachers at that time were my lecturers. They were my lecturers. I'm sure they didn't know that they were baking a cake for themselves that they have to eat today. So the reason why I'm sharing you with this, ladies and gentlemen, is to bring the awakening about the importance of education and the importance that you play within your spaces as teachers. But I also want to proceed by sharing with you the insights of higher education and how this thing is an ecosystem. So of course, I want to indulge you with the exciting happenings at the University of Johannesburg a little bit. The core mission of higher education and yourselves hasn't changed. It remains the same. So in whatever era, our goal as educators is to ensure that quality of learning takes place. And I'm very excited that MEC has an appetite to see the future. You see, when I sat in the classroom, I was told all of these things about one of the good days you're actually going to do online banking. And of course, when I told my dad, who's in the mines, and my mom, who didn't even go to high school, they thought there is no way that we are going to take a risk of transacting with a mobile device with our own money that we work hard for. And trust me today, I'm always told every month, and they even know when UJs pay, when are you e-walleting? So it was that time when you listen to these things and you think, he's just a professor, it will never happen. And I think that's what the fourth industrial revolution is doing to many of us. But what I want to talk about is the kind of learner or the current learner or student that you and I have today. They are exposed to technology on a daily basis. Honorable MEC, your children are giving us trouble. I feel like I don't have a PhD in my house because they ask us quite lots of questions. So my grade 6 was doing a speech on one of the popular icons that they can choose, anyone, whether in music, politics, and he decided to choose a Steve Biko a speech. And I mean, he was telling me things that I didn't even know about, and I felt like, my goodness, I need to go back to school and learn. So this type of kids, they can Google, they can actually research about things that we also do not know about. So I don't want to intimidate you, but to let you know that even us, in the very same sector, space of information technology that is very challenging, intimidating, we challenged every day. So all of us are in the same boat here, literally, because information is at the tip of the hand. So education has changed a lot in the past few decades, and the speed at which it is changing will only get faster because advancement in technology show no signs of slowing down. When I enrolled to study IT many years ago, we had fields such as software development, IT manager, project manager, but I can tell you that such fields today, such as data mining, mobile software development, ops engineering, which were coined years ago by Professor Patrick Du Bois and Andrew in 2009, are currently becoming less common today. So in addition, Honorable MEC, the role of the public sector, that is education, whether higher primary or higher education, may be creating either, or maybe they were non-existent in the last 10, 20 years of the kind of education we're talking about. But what is amazing is how quickly the world around us is changing. The fourth industrial revolution, I'm avoiding not getting a bonus, I'm going to mention it, is upon us, and we as educators, we need to adapt to these changes. But the core question that I want you and myself to ask today is, we need to collectively work together. And how do we do that as higher institution of learning and yourself from your own space as well? We are in the same sectors. We play a critical role in producing the products that we feed to the market. So literally, I am nothing without you. You giving me your students, and the learners will become the students in higher learning, and I have to produce that to the market. So either way, we're contributing negatively or positively to the economy. The choice is ours. So I'm particularly passionate about encouraging science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in our schools and promoting digital skills. Of course, development with SMMEs. My PhD, Honorable MEC, was on township SMMEs and the adoption of technologies. So I literally had to wear techies, walk into the township and ask the SMMEs that are operating in the township, are you using technology? Are you aware of the fourth industrial revolution? What are the technologies that you're using? But very interesting, if I may highlight a little bit of my findings in my PhD was, you find an SMME owner who's holding a tablet and a very smartphone on the other side, and you're asking them, are you using technology? They're like, no, that's actually for larger enterprises. I'm not using technology. But they are holding the technology in their hands. So there is quite a lot of shifting that we need to do in terms of educating our nation and promoting the digital skills that I'm talking about. And of course, this is not a one-man or one-woman show. We are all responsible for guiding that village boy, that township girl, that undergraduate, that unemployed, and also ourselves. We need to make sure that we upskill and reskill without feeling intimidated. So what we strongly encourage ourselves to do today is we need to invent, create, discover, and explore the role that in order for us to contribute to the future-focused, transformative society where research can lead to solution in processing or pressing the societal needs, all of us must participate. I think the overall goal is to bring us to a deeper understanding of who we are, how do we lead our planet, ourselves forward in an equal, socially just and environmentally conscious way. This requires all of us as teachers, and I call myself a teacher because I am a teacher on a daily basis. So we need to engage far more closely together with yourselves. So we cannot be operating in separate spaces. And I'm saying this because within the University of Johannesburg, we have quite a lot of programs to upskill you. We have done quite a lot of TVET colleges as well in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We have graduated them within the School of Consumer Intelligence and Information System. But I won't do justice if I don't finish my talk on how do we bridge the gender divide in digital society. And I know Dr. Mokobe is going to penalize me on this because it was not how he framed it, but he will probably forgive me because I am a woman and we are in part of the society. But on the digital divide or the technology gap that we want to close today, we can only close it by education and providing equal access to technology. And I'm very excited to hear that within the sector, we are making waves, and particularly this province, in terms of accommodating connectivity, inclusivity for all our children. So for women or girls, we really need to make sure that they equally participate. In this sense, I'm talking to the female teachers, and I'm hoping at the back in front here, the women are saying, Mumandla, we are coming to upskill ourselves. So I'm passionate about advocating for internet access to be viewed as a human basic right, and similarly to water and electricity, in particular for township and rural areas. The responsibility that we have is to ensure that instead of creating and enlarging barriers, technology and the internet becomes the enabler, even for us women or for girls. I think what we need to look at, Honorable MEC, is the digital infrastructure investment, which is very critical for economic development, employment and income growth for townships and rural areas, and everybody else in the society. COVID-19 has really exposed us, and it's been very an emotional journey for me because I am what they call, I know South Africans, we're really good at labeling. I don't know where we get these good names that we give ourselves, clever blacks or middle class, whatever they call us. But I found myself in quite a very disturbing situation during COVID-19 because I personally had to experience, a digital divide with my students who were in the rural areas, in the townships, either with issues of cost of data or just not being able to connect to the internet. And therefore, that's why I think it's very important that we address the issues of digital infrastructure in the country. So we need to equip ourselves and ensure that we participate in the digital economy. So the schools must be a place where our children are introduced to technology, I agree, as well as the literacy and the numeracy skills to make the most of these digital tools. I think therefore all of us, we need to have or to ensure that we have equal access to learning, relevant technical skills, and digital literacy. So last week when I was doing an interview with Sikukuni FM, because I also serve in the board of CEDA, for SMMEs, I was asked a question, what is digitization in Sepedi? So those type of challenges, we face them every day, and I couldn't respond because I don't know what is digitization in Sepedi. But of course, we've got people within the department as well who are doing studies in computer science, trying to find where do we fit in our languages within this digital space that we talk about. But I'm sharing with you all of this to just encourage you that this is a challenge that we face, even ourselves who calls ourselves experts in the area. It is an unknown space, and I'm not going to give you the details of the first, the second, the third, and the fourth, because those are the things that I've been studying throughout my life about digitization or digitalization. But it is a challenge, but I think I want to plead with the MEC to say the issue of infrastructure is extremely important so that we don't leave some of our children and some of our teachers in other areas not connected. And the infrastructure is also supported by cost, because when I was asking some of the SMME owners to say, why are you not using this technology such as Internet of Things, those that knew about the technologies, which was quite a small number, they said it's very expensive. And I think that is the reality of this fourth industrial revolution. Of course, from the discipline of information systems, we always say technology is an enabler. We look at it to say, how do we use technology to enable ourselves either in business or with those business models? But as a teacher, how do you use technology to ensure that your life is easy? You know, I worked with the Adopted School Foundation. One of my schools that I adopted was Mohome Senior School in Meadowlands. And we did a community service to educate the teachers on the use of tablet MEC when you introduced it. Voluntarily so, we went there to teach them, you know, to say, how do you access this tablet? It was an exciting moment for us. But I think the reality is we want to see all of our teachers having access to many of the things that we cannot cover, the content within the university. Within my BCom IS degree or my business IT diploma, it's very difficult. When the kids come, I hit the ground running with coding because we want them to learn as much as they can. But we can actually work together as yourselves and equip yourselves. I mean, trust me, we will try to teach you this information technology from ourselves as expertise in Zulu if we can, in Sepedi or Chivenda. I know Professor Marola took chances by explaining what is the fourth industrial revolution. I'm not even going to attempt to give that definition. But in summary, what I want to close in is to say, we want to work together with yourselves. We will try and educate in as simple manner as possible to make sure that this lingo is not strange, because we need to fully participate. Our contribution is actually huge because we are the ones who are producing knowledge into the society. Thank you very much. I will leave it at that. Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. Thank you very much to Professor Mashao and Dr. Vuma. Our response to the keynote speech will be given by Ms. Lindo Shamase, Chief of Programs, who will give us the onward vision and introduce us to the Matthew Goniwe Scholarship Program launch. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to Ms. Lindo Shamase. Thank you.
Sanbonan, Goeieland, Lotan, Abshen. Nyanwona lapho. My name is Lindo Shamase, and just as my name says, it's time for the good and the nice things. We are about to go into then the second segment, which is the teacher awards, but I would like to conclude the first. And I'm concluding the first with the thanks to the previous speakers who have spoken in the first segment, led by the MEC of Education, our CEO, our board chair, the bishop, as well as then the keynote speaker by Professor Mashao. Professor, thank you very much, particularly for even bringing Dr. Vuma, because I was worried that I was squeezed in on the last minute as the only woman who will speak. As Matthew Goniwe, in response to even what the University of Johannesburg, through Dr. Vuma and Professor had just stated, is a pioneered project that is being led by our board through their CSI program, which is then the Matthew Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance Fund. And with this fund, we'd like to honor the stalwart and the type of man that Matthew was. The focus will be on postgraduate studies to be able to ensure and assist our teachers elevate to that next level of beyond the basic education, where we are taking care of the post-schooling education. And with that, in Gauteng Department of Education, we are saying we've got the numbers. Quantity-wise, we are always doing well in our education. We've been a leading province in terms of the pass rate for the number of years. But how do we then move forward from that and start enriching quality? And this is what then this scholarship will do. And the idea is then to build advanced national capabilities from then the early childhood development that is migrating from the social department to then our education department. A number of teachers who graduate from university, Professor Mashao, are increasing. But when we get them in our departments, the quality is always suspect. It's suspect because the wheels of the universities don't move fast enough. And that's where our role and the gap that we mediate at Matthew Goniwe is, to ensure that all these new technologies and the advances that our department and the Department of Basic Education bring through, we ensure that we bridge the gap of mediating and training teachers to ensure that these beautiful smart technologies that our MSc always pioneers, we ensure that they can be used immediately in the class. And we are hoping with the scholarship, we can be able to then work with universities such as University of Johannesburg and other universities in the countries to be able to quicker turn around. How do we train a teacher to be an e-educator, and the teacher will be able to best impact these 4 IR skills you speak about. And that is then our response as Matthew Goniwe to ensure that we assist and contribute to this fast-changing world by launching this amazing initiative, which is the scholarship. To the teachers who are here, please take this up, apply, and have a fund that will not just give you a scholarship and leave you like any other university. We are currently running a Bachelor of Education pilot through UNISA to be able to focus on the foundation school teachers, which is a good move in the country. What we've realized is that unlike a typical university where a learner goes into a class and then they learn, the post-school support and the enrichment to ensure that there is coordination of what happens in class, which you are missing as university, and linking it into then the classroom and ensure that there is workplace skills impacting to the teachers is happening. And we are hoping we are going to do that with the scholarship and then the programs that we are moving into. Professor, lastly, we are going to invade in your territory. Matthew Goniwe is planning by 2024 to have finally gotten its accreditation as a full-on higher education institution. We believe, thank you. We believe with the support that we have, we can be able to then share the best practice of the beautiful Gauteng province and the work that has been done in education to ensure that we escalate it into the country. We will not be doing this as just competitors, but collaborators in what our board chair was speaking to with regards to the spirit that Matthew Goniwe, the man he was, of collaboration and love. And there's nothing in this world you can do moving forward without that collaboration. We're hoping it's going to be a space where we can all take our country forward in education and be able to then do great things. Thank you very much, and I hope we will then have your support in moving forward with this initiative. Teachers, please apply, and we are here then to support you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Ms. Shamase. Thank you. Okay, I'm sure we are all very hungry right now, so we're going to have some food. We're going to be ushered to the food and so on and so forth, but we're going to start with the dignitary tables. While we are eating, we'll have a lovely rendition from our resident saxophonist, Mr. Denzel. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, and let's enjoy our food. After which we will come back to the most important part of the evening, which is going to be the award ceremony. Thank you. Let's eat. Thank you. Denzel, all yours.